Imagine a tiny culture of just 1,000 bacteria sitting in a petri dish. Seems totally harmless, right? Barely even a speck. But this particular strain has a very unique property. Its population doubles exactly every 4 hours.
Now, fast forward just 24 hours. That harmless little culture hasn't just grown a little bit. It has completely exploded to 64,000 bacteria. No way, right? But this is the terrifying and honestly fascinating speed of exponential growth. It starts out slow, but once it gets going, it absolutely rockets upward.
So here's the deal. By the end of this explainer, you're going to completely understand the mechanics behind exponential functions, the hidden secrets of the mathematical magic number e, and exactly how to use logarithms as your ultimate tool to solve any equation of this type. We're going to break down the concepts, the actual formulas, and how to apply them to real-world examples.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the exponential power.
Let's transition from our bacteria example right into the mathematical engine that's actually driving it. But before we go any further, I really need to warn you about the ultimate student trap. It is incredibly easy to confuse the power function, like x squared, with the exponential function, 2 to the power of x. Listen closely here. In a power function, the base changes and the exponent is just a constant number. But in an exponential function, the base is locked in place and the exponent acts as the variable. That variable exponent, that's exactly what causes that massive, runaway growth we just looked at.
So, formally speaking, an exponential function looks exactly like this. F of x equals b to the power of x. The base b has to be greater than 0, and it cannot equal 1. That base stays completely constant, while the variable x is up there in the exponent.
And to actually manipulate these functions, we need to quickly dust off some mechanical rules you probably remember. The laws of exponents. Basically, when you multiply terms with the same base, you just add the exponents. When you divide, you subtract them. And a power raised to another power, that means you multiply those exponents together. Definitely keep these in your back pocket because we are absolutely going to need them to solve some complex equations in just a minute.
Now you might be asking yourself, how does this apply to real life? Like, say, my money. Well, if you put money in a bank, it compounds interest. Maybe once a year, maybe every month. But what happens if we compound that interest an infinite number of times? Like every day, every hour, every tiny fraction of a millisecond. Does your money just shoot straight up to infinity? That exact question leads us directly to the discovery of one of the most famous numbers in all of mathematics.
Which brings us to Section 2, the magic number e.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates what happens when we actually try that infinite compounding trick. As we increase m in our formula, which is just the number of compounding periods, from 10 to 100, all the way up to 1 million, the output doesn't shoot off to infinity at all. Miraculously, it stabilizes. It converges to a very specific decimal, 2.71828, and so on. This, my friends, is Euler's number, or simply e.
So, the crucial point here is that we can formally define the natural exponential function as f of x equals e to the power of x. But why call it natural? Well, because formulas using base e perfectly model continuous, uninterrupted growth in nature. I mean literally, from bacteria multiplying to populations expanding to radioactive elements decaying, nature practically operates on base e.
Now wait. This is incredibly important, especially for those of you taking calculus. The natural exponential function has this really unique geometrical property. If you draw the tangent line to the curve of e to the power of x exactly at x equals 0, that line has a slope of exactly 1. It's literally the only exponential function in the universe that does this, which makes it the absolute easiest function to work with in calculus.
Let's make this totally concrete with a real-life analogy. Say you invest $500 continuously at 5.5% for 10 years. Using our natural base formula, we just plug in our values. A equals $500 times e to the power of 0.055 times 10. You type that right into your calculator, and boom, you get $866.63. Base e makes continuous growth calculations beautifully simple. But here, we hit a bit of a natural wall. What if we actually know the final amount of money we want, but we need to work backward to find out how much time it'll take to get there? Like, how do we get the variable out of the exponent?
That brings us to Section 3, logarithms, the undo button.
So we essentially need a reverse gear for exponential growth. Explicitly defined, the logarithmic function with base b states that log base b of x equals y. if and only if b to the power of y equals x. Think of it like this. If exponents build things up, logarithms tear them down to find the root cause. They are symmetric inverses.
Visually, this inverse relationship is really striking. When you graph the natural exponential function y equals e to the x and the natural logarithm function y equals the natural log of x, they mirror each other perfectly across the diagonal line y equals x. They are literal reflections of one another.
And just like exponents, logarithms have some core properties that do a lot of heavy lifting for us. First, the product property turns multiplication inside a log into simple addition outside. The quotient property turns division into subtraction. And the power property, now this is the really big one, allows you to take an exponent from inside the log and just drop it right down in front as a multiplier.
But here's a common problem you are absolutely going to face during an exam. What if you're working with our bacteria from earlier and you need to calculate a base 2 logarithm, but you look down and your calculator only has ln for natural log or standard base 10 log? What do you do?
Well, don't panic. You just use the change of base formula. Log base a of x is simply equal to the natural log of x divided by the natural log of a. It basically acts as a universal translator, letting you transform any strange, difficult logarithm base right into the natural logs that your trusty calculator can easily handle.
All right, let's put it all into practice in Section 4, Solving Real Equations.
Let's bring all these mechanical tools together onto our virtual whiteboard. Let's start with a classic, 5 to the power of x equals 2. So, how do we get x out of the sky? Step 1, apply the natural logarithm to both sides. Thanks to our handy power property, that x drops right down to the front. Now we have x times the natural log of 5 equals the natural log of 2. From there, you simply divide both sides by the natural log of 5, and boom, x is completely isolated.
Okay, now let's tackle a more complex equation that constantly trips students up. E to the 2x minus 5 times e to the x plus 6 equals 0. Honestly, this looks terrifying, but it's totally a disguise. You just treat this exactly like a simple quadratic equation. It factors really cleanly into e to the x minus 3 times e to the x minus 2 equals 0. Set both of those to 0, hit both sides with a natural log, and your answers are simply x equals ln of 3 and x equals ln of 2.
And what about working in reverse? Take the natural log of 1 over x equals 4. Just use the literal definition of the natural logarithm to rewrite the equation out of log form. Since the base is e, that means e to the power of 4 equals 1 over x. From there, you just multiply by x and divide by e to the 4th. Step by step, the undo button isolates x perfectly.
Let's quickly summarize our journey today. We saw the explosive, variable-driven power of exponential growth. We discovered that infinite, continuous compounding leads us directly to the natural constant, the magic number e. And finally, we mastered logarithms as the essential inverse undo button that is required to pull variables out of exponents and actually solve these equations.
Which leaves us with this final thought. If the math of the number e perfectly models continuous growth in everything from nature to finance, what other universal patterns and secrets are just waiting to be unlocked in our next calculus explainer? Keep